Again, this is our fourth installment or our fourth time together discussing the book by Jason Wilson, The Man, the Moment Demands. The Man, the Moment Demands. And I think it's important as that we understand the title of the book as we go forward from the uh, 10 characteristics of a comprehensive man, which is the subtitle of the book, the 10 characteristics of the comprehensive man. Those characteristics are going to be in line with being the man the moment demands. And I think when we really began to think about what that means, what that is, then we can kind of grasp how to begin to reshape the way we are living our lives. We have to, as men, constantly be growing, constantly be seeking to gain understanding, knowledge, wisdom concerning what the Father has for us. And right now, I believe the Father is striving to uh, uh, bring us to a place of maturity. And so He's placing his prophets or his men in whom he is giving a voice to begin to speak concerning the things that we need healing from. And we need a lot of healing from the ways we were raised, some of the things that were said to us. And we talked about that in the first chapter, talking about, when we made decisions to do one thing or other. And in that time in which we were young and moldable, we were developing either fears, insecurities, um, uh, finding our ways of being comfortable in certain things and not comfortable in others. And they may not necessarily align with what it truly means to be a man. And that was keeping us overall from being the man the moment demands. Because as a man, we have to be able to function at every moment, not only for our own good, but for those that are looking to us for leadership. And every man is born to be a leader, every one of us. It's not just the individual that's over an assembly, a church, a business, or whatever. Every man is called to lead his own family. And so within that family dynamics, we are going to be challenged with demands that we have to come and step up to the plate. So we have to be able to function in those areas if we are going to adequately be able to get to lead our families. And so we have to strive to be whatever the moment demands. We saw that in chapter 2, being whatever the moment demands. Well, what moment are we in at any given time? Can we respond in a way in which brings about the desired result? And if we can't, then we have to question why we could not. We could not be whatever that moment demanded for me to be. If I was in a position where I was being called upon to be the warrior, the fighter, but I had a preconceived idea in my mind that, oh, we're not supposed to fight. We're supposed to turn the other cheek. We're not supposed to take another life, and those things that are keeping us back from being the protector, the fighter, because they were ingrained in us from a system that had its own issues that may not have been correct. Now we are not able to be what we're supposed to be at that moment. People are going to look to you for what those moments are. And, because we are men, even people that don't know who we are, the fact that I am a man and I am in a situation, well, I've got to perform based on how I was created. I was created to lead. I was created to be a fighter. I was given a physique that is capable of being able to move and destroy. And if the environment that I'm in, again, and this is from last week, we talked about the fighter, but if I'm in an environment where that requires me to stand up and to provide protection for those around me, the weaker vessels, such as children and women, and maybe even men that may have been overcome by whatever force is being present, am I capable of performing? And if I'm not, then that means that I have failed to be the man that that particular moment demanded for me to be. There's a problem with that. And this book that Jason Wilson has written is trying to help us overcome these issues so that we can be whatever the moment demands. And in this particular chapter, chapter 4, we're talking about the provider. The provider. It doesn't really take much to understand that we were designed to go and work and to be a provider. We see that in the garden with Adam and Eve in the beginning. The Most High gave man a task, and he put him in a garden and gave him instructions so that he can be a provider. And it wasn't until he was given these things that he was then given somebody that he can be a provider for. Because other than that, he's just taking care of himself. And so we've got to move beyond just taking care of ourselves, but providing for those in whom we are leading, those that we are going to be coverings for. And so we are called to be providers. And and so I want to read what portions of what he has here in chapter 4. Again, this is not a book club where we're reading the entire book and talking about each page or each chapter or whatever, but I'm grabbing uh, bits and pieces here and there that to talk about so that I can draw actually an interest to this book so that you go out and buy it. Now, I'm not getting any proceeds or kickbacks, but I do believe that what Jason Wilson has been given to bring to us is going to help us to become better men, better at all the things in which he is bringing out. And, those 10 characteristics, although he's bringing out 10 characteristics, I think those are kind of like core characteristics. But as a man, we're going to be called to do a lot of things. But we have to be emotionally stable, emotionally healthy to be able to handle all of the scenarios, all of the different things that are going to come our way so that we can be so that we can adequately be whatever it is the moment demands. So what he writes as far as provider, he says, the provider ensures the provision of essential resources, guidance, and support for his family, friends, community, and himself. So we have to provide essential resources. So that means that I've got to, if I'm a farmer, then the resources are going to be the produce is what I have from the seed in which I placed in the ground. If I'm performing tasks or, if I have a skill set that brings about a certain income, then that is resources. But that is a responsibility for every man to provide resources. And for those that we are over, that we are heading, that we're covering for, we're to provide guidance. A lot of times when we think of a provider, sometimes we don't associate guidance with being a provider. I think that it was really important that he put that into the description of this chapter, that we are providing guidance, because as a father, we have a responsibility to sit down with our sons, our daughters, and our wives and provide guidance. That means instructions. That means that we fence in the entire family as to what they can and cannot do. Certain, within that fenced in area, there are gates all over the place that they can come and go. Some of the gates are going to be locked, some of the gates are going to be wide open, and some are going to have certain restrictions. The children cannot go through this particular gate. The Isha or the wife can go through that gate. But if I deem that for whatever reason, this is not healthy, this is not conducive to my ability to be able to be a provider and a protector, then I lock those gates as well. And I know that many of us as husbands struggle with closing certain gates for our wives, because they don't always respond in the way that they should. Sometimes when we are giving too much, and this comes from this mindset of happy wife, happy life. When we start giving everything that she wants, allowing her to do whatever she wants, look like whatever she wants to look like, there's no real guidance there. And then when we feel a need to give her that guidance, we're going to find ourselves hesitant. And even if we find the strength to give her the guidance that she needed, she may, she may, there may be kickback or a rebellion against your instructions and your guidance. And when that happens, sometimes we feel that, we'll want to shy back and not demand that your direction or your guidance be heard. And we have to be careful of that. And this is why this happy wife, happy life mindset doesn't work, because it creates more problems in the long run than it solves in the short. So we have to provide resources, and we also have to provide guidance. We have to and support. Okay, so we provide support. What is it that we as a family are trying to accomplish? Am I am I providing enough support for them to be able to accomplish these things? Do they are they in line with the instructions that have been given to me from the Most High? Because that's important. If we as men, just like Adam, we're given instructions as to what the Father desires. So when Adam was created, he was told, okay, you can eat from all of these trees in the garden, except for one, that one in the midst of the garden. Don't eat it. Don't, eat from that tree. So that is instructions. Now, those instructions and that we are to give to our families. He was supposed to give that to Eve. And so as long as everybody is following the instructions, the guidance that has been given to the head and then passed down to the rest of the family, friends, community, and even myself, then then I can support what all the actions and all of the endeavors that my family, friends, and community and myself are trying to accomplish. And support is important, not only financially, but there, as moral support, more guidance, instructions to make sure that everybody is doing exactly what they're supposed to do, the way they're supposed to do it, and so that we can ensure that there is a greater level of success. So again, let me read this first portion that talks about what a provider is in its description. The provider ensures the provision of essential resources, guidance, and support for his family, friends, community, and himself. And so this is a breakdown of that, and I think that his descriptions are important for us as we go through. So we'll most likely be looking at all of the descriptions for each one of the 10 characteristics of a comprehensive man is going to be, so that we can actually gain the understanding that he is striving for us to gain. He goes on to write, men often dedicate themselves to the needs of others while suppressing their own feelings. As men, we have been charged with the responsibility of providing for the well being of our families, a job we take seriously, a job that we take so seriously that we often forget we are part of that family and also need looking after. So to successfully be the provider that we need to be, we have to look out for ourselves as well. Our health is important. If our family is going to rely on us for provision, then I have to take care of myself in a way in which I can maintain my ability to provide. Now, that means I have to eat a certain way. And so if we're saying, well, I don't have to take care of my weight, I got a beautiful wife, I got three beautiful children. I can kind of relax. I don't have to go out and walk and take care of my abs and all of this other stuff. And we just allow ourselves to uh, uh, let ourselves go. Then we are putting ourselves in danger of not being able to provide for our families, because at some point our health is going to deteriorate, and we're going to end up missing days of work. We're going to put ourselves in positions where we cannot go out and work and hustle and to do whatever it's needed in order to be good providers. So we've got to take care of our health. It's important so that we can be what that moment demands. It's We have to get the adequate rest that is required. We don't want to be, we don't want to experience burnout. All of us that have worked and been in this working environment for a number of time know that if we're out uh, pushing and pushing and pushing, then we will eventually experience burnout, and we won't be able to do much of anything. So all of our efforts will start to dwindle, is because I'm I have psychological, emotional burnout, physical burnout. My body is only capable of being able to be pushed for so long before it begins to demand that I get the rest that it needs. So we have to understand ourselves well enough to gauge that. Often my Isha will ask me to do certain things, and and I have to remind her that, look, I've been working from the time I got up this morning, and to do what you're asking will require me to work all the way up until it's time for me to go to bed. And so I said, yeah, there are times that I will and can do that, but this cannot be a requirement of me that just because I have free time, that free time is occupied by a honey-do list. I have to have time off. I have to have a time in which I can rest and recuperate. This is important because if I don't, then there will be a point where I won't be able to work at all. And so it becomes, now that I'm working against myself and against what I am called to do as a provider. So this is important for us to gauge this, to understand that, to uh, And nobody can understand that better than you can. So you're the one that has to be responsible for that. If you need to take a nap, then you need to take a nap. Go lay down, get the, get that power nap or whatever that is that you need in order to maintain your strength, your ability to function. And this needs to be okay. And if it's not okay, you need to have enough emotional stability to sit down with your wife or whoever is placing demands upon you and explain to them that you are practicing healthy uh, tactics to ensure that you're capable, that you will always be capable of providing and accomplishing each goal. It's important to understand that uh, we are we are called to be providers, and the scripture uh, makes this clear. Jason Wilson writes in his book. He quotes a scripture in First Timothy 5:8. If anyone does not provide for his own uh, and is in, um, and explicitly for especially for those of his household, he is denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. So this is part of who we are as men, is to be providers. The Most High demonstrates for a man all of the aspects of a man. So the scriptures tell the man, tell us that the father is a husband. And so if he's saying he's a husband, then we can say, okay, well, if I don't know what that looks like, I can look in the scripture at the behavior and the way that the father is dealing with Israel and learn what a husband is supposed to do. I can learn what a husband is supposed to do as a fighter. I can learn what a husband is supposed to do as a provider because he's demonstrating this in the way that he is leading Israel. And so all the scripture gives us very clear understanding as to how these things, and our writers are not necessarily giving us something that is not demonstrated because Paul is writing in First Timothy, so something that has been played out by the Father in the Torah. So if we understand that, then I'm not following a man's description or idea as to what I am supposed to do, but I'm actually following the Father's description, Father's understanding as to what I'm supposed to do as a provider. And he's just basically clarifying it, making it known so that we don't have any uh, misunderstandings as to what that looks like. Jason also continues to write, and this is under the heading of the importance of rest. Amid all of our hard work and excitement, we mustn't forget ourselves. It is crucial to avoid any potential mental breakdown and burnouts. So while we are chasing our dreams, we must all make sure to take moments to rest and recharge, ensuring that our pursuit of our dreams doesn't turn into a health scare nightmare. After all, taking care of ourselves along with the way, along with along the way is equally as important as achieving our goals. Work hard, but rest even harder. So he's really reiterating and pointing out the need for rest as men, as we are providers. Um, all of us know what it looks like. Most of us that are listening in know what that looks like to get out and work hard. But we also have to understand the importance of rest. The Father understood the importance of rest And this is why he gave us a Shabbat day. And he told us that this is important, that we take a day to rest. Those that have been trying to work 7 days a week, 365 days, yes, you're going to make more money. Yes, you may be able to do more in whatever period of time that you're working, but overall, it is going to work against you. And many of us will find ourselves in like Jason Wilson writes here, a health scare nightmare. Heart attacks, our bodies shutting down. We have to protect ourselves from these things. And so understand that rest is important. Now, behind every segment of our chapter, our point in which he is bringing out, he gives us activities, things that we can work on, things that we can look at. Again, it's important to get the book because he's got more than one activity behind each one of these. And I like the mirror time activity. That seems to be the one that kind of stands out to me. And so we're going to look at mirror time activity. And the mirror time activity, and again, I've always said evaluate, evaluate, evaluate. That means always are looking at what it is that we're doing, how we're doing it, how, and how we accomplish what we do to see whether it lines with the Father, what we can learn from it. Every conversation needs to be evaluated. Everything we listen to, even this uh, uh, conversation, you need to evaluate that. Think about what it is that you heard. Is it something that you want to uh, add to your repertoire as far as life is concerned, or completely reject? Everybody's not going to want to hear. And any speaker or any leader should understand that everything that we do, everything that we say, everybody is not going to align with. Everybody's not even going to agree with. Even when the Messiah was speaking, he even knew that. So what he had to say, behind many things, those that have ear to hear and eyes to see, let them, those are the ones that I'm talking to. The rest, go in the direction that you feel best. You know, I'm just doing, or, for me, I'm just basically trying to share wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that I've gained over the years of my life to be able to help those that have not had as much experience or maybe even had different. So it's not just for those younger, but older as well, because we all have different experiences that if we share with one another, we can all grow. And so we all have to keep evaluating, evaluating, evaluating. But he calls it the mirror time. His description of what a mirror time is and how to do it is to take out your mirror and silently gaze into the eyes of the man reflecting in it. Don't look away for 60 seconds, and and then affirm to the man with the following statements. Following statements he has here is: rest and peace isn't exclusively reserved for the afterlife. We can take a nap. So it is important. Again, he's just reiterating the importance of rest, reiterating the importance of being able to gauge and to understand when we need to rest, and allow that to be acceptable. Don't allow anybody to tell you that you're lazy because you're taking a nap. I'm taking a nap because I need to recharge. I need to make sure that I don't have burnout. Bullet point number 2, he says, I am worth more than what I provide to others. I am valued and appreciated for who I am, not just for what I do. If we have those that don't understand that, then we need to make that clear that, don't value me only for what I do for you. Don't value me only for what I can provide, but value who I am for who I am. Um, I'm I'm not just I'm not just a paycheck. I'm not just somebody that can go buy you things. I'm more than that. And if those that are around us don't understand that, then we need to make it clear so that they don't put us in an early grave by by pushing us and pushing us and pushing us to provide and to that point where it becomes a health issue. Bullet point number 3. I'm not lazy. I will work hard, but I will rest harder. So I gotta rest. I'm gonna take that time to rest. Bullet point number 4. I will leave a good inheritance for for my grandchildren, amassing wealth, benefits, generations uh, of my lineage. So I'm going to keep in mind that there are those that, because I am a provider, that are going to look to me to be a blessing to my family, and that I'm leaving something for as a legacy for them to build upon. This is not just for me. This is not just for the immediate generation, but I'm trying to amass wealth in this family, because if we're all doing that from one generation to the next, eventually the family can exceed in a way in which is comfortable for everybody. And the last point is I will not love money, but I will respect its role. My soul isn't worth sacrificing for wealth. So again, we're not just um, somebody that's providing money. I'm more than that, and that needs to be respected. That needs to be valued, and I need to be seen for more than what I can provide. And I have to make sure that I'm walking that walk as well. Now, I work for myself, so I don't necessarily rely on a paycheck. And one of the things that I've had to make sure is that I don't start chasing dollars, because I know that every hour that I spend out there working, I'm making more money, and that adds up. So if I need to make an extra $1,000 a month, I may say to myself, if I go out and work an extra hour every day, I can make $1,000 more a month. And then I said, then after I start doing that, I said, then something else comes. If I just add on another hour, or if I pick up 2 or 3 more people, then I can make an extra $300 to $500 more a month. That's a never-ending tale. And before you know it, that's all I'm doing is working. I have to gauge that. I know that if I go out and I say, if I don't take a Shabbat, I could make $200, $300 in this week more. And if I do that at the end of the month, I have brought in an extra $1,200 to be able to add to my bank account or to do whatever it is I want to do. And sometimes these things can pull at you to try to continue to work and to work and to work, but that's not healthy. And you need to recognize that uh, you have to rest, and that you're actually more than just going out and making more and more and more money. If I can make more money by coming up with different ideas within the time frame in which is acceptable, then yes, let's do that by all means. But for these truck drivers that say, man, if I pick up this extra load, I can make this, and if I can push it to this limit, then I can make this much more. If this is all that we're doing, then basically we are creating a scenario or an environment that we're even teaching people that I'm just a paycheck. I'm going to work hard enough to be able to satisfy whatever needs y'all have, And eventually you get lost in the shuffle of all of that and become unrecognizable by those that friends, loved ones, and community. And so let's not allow ourselves to get there. Let's understand that there has to be a good balance in all of that so that we can maintain the ability to be a provider and the man the moment demands.